I'm going to read you guys something, see if you can identify what this is describing. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs, but he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud. He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking. How? Everybody's joking now. The clock's run out. Time's up. Over. Blow. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes Rabbit. He choked. He's so mad, but he won't give up that easy. No, he won't have it. He knows his whole back is to these ropes. It don't matter. He's dope. He knows that, but he's broke. So he's stagnant. He knows when he goes back to his mobile home, that's when it's back to the lab again. Yo, this old Rhapsody better go capture this moment and hope it don't pass him. What was that describing?
Lose yourself.
What did you say over there? Say it again. Yeah, that is a pretty good description of someone experiencing anxiety. Maybe even an anxiety attack in a crucial moment. You guys know where this is from. You guys are familiar. You guys probably watched the movie 8 Mile. You guys remember Eminem. I know some of you younger folk probably don't know who that is.
Like the candy?
But those of us that are a little up there in age, we remember there was a time when he was popping. And he described this, and it was very relatable, especially when it comes to having to perform in front of a group of people, a crowd of people that are judging you based on that performance, that are analyzing and scrutinizing you. Somebody like a rapper or a public speaker or a teacher or a performer in any aspect of art form, when you're in front of a group, you want to put on your best performance so that they enjoy it, and also so that they don't look at you as someone who sucks ass, doesn't know what they're doing. And that's always the preoccupation. Usually when somebody has to do that, even if you're good at what you do, when it's time to demonstrate it, especially to a large crowd, you could choke. Even though you're capable, but in that moment, you're just overwhelmed with that anxiety, that fear of not performing well, and then what will they say? What will they think? And then you get booed off the stage, and that's got to be absolutely horrific. Something about anxiety that I noticed as of lately, everyone seems to have it. And it's become kind of a stigma or a dirty word. And when people talk about anxiety, it usually has a negative connotation attached to it. I've never heard anyone really say anxiety is a good thing or use it in the context of like, yeah, this is important, it's helpful. It's usually like, oh, I'm fucked up, I got anxiety. Or this is a problem that's reoccurring in my life. Anxiety. Anxiety is like this looming, ominous shadow that just hinders our pleasure and our enjoyment, our safety, our peace, our serenity in life, and especially in recovery. When people struggle with anxiety that is pervasive, that is problematic, that might even be on the level of a disorder, it could also cause a relapse. Because if you're sitting there with anxiety day in and day out, and you're a recovering addict or somebody who's trying to stay sober from your drug of choice, as long as you're suffering with that anxiety, your brain is going to remind you that there is this option. You can always guzzle that bottle of whiskey or tequila. You could always smoke that pill on that foil tray. You can always pop some of them shards in that glass pipe and toot away, tend to it. Or you can just load up the syringe and straight to the main line and change the way you feel immediately. There's nothing wrong with you if that's something that's still happening in your mind, that craving, that longing for relief, or just a change in how you feel, because being sober sometimes seems overwhelming and unbearable. And just know this, you are not alone. And you're not a bad person. Nothing's wrong with you for having a craving, for having an urge, or even if you give in to those things. It doesn't make you a bad person. If you've relapsed again and again and again, don't beat yourself up over that. What I hope is that here and now, you will take this time to give yourself an opportunity to find some alternatives, some real solutions to those kind of problems, and spare yourself the long-term, inevitable, inescapable consequences that are going to follow if you were to pick up again. You don't have to do that. Could even save your life, especially if you're a person who likes opiates, right? There's people dying every day from this stuff. So it's not worth it for you to just even try it again. Please consider the options. Here's some statistical information for you guys so you know you're not alone when it comes to anxiety. This is from the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. Anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the United States, affecting 40 million adults. That is 19% of the population, age 18 and older, every year. Anxiety disorders are highly treatable, yet only 1 in 4 people in need receive the treatment. People with an anxiety disorder are 3 to 5 times more likely to go to the doctor. Anxiety disorders develop from a complex set of risk factors, including genetics, brain chemistry, personality, and life events. It is not uncommon for someone with anxiety to also suffer from depression, or vice versa. Nearly 1/2 of those diagnosed with depression are also diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder, also known as GAD, affects 6.8 million adults of the U.S. population, yet only 43.2% are receiving treatment. That's less than half. Women are twice as likely to be affected as men, and GAD often co-occurs with major depression. There's also a condition known as panic disorder, or PD, which affects 6 million adults of the U.S. population. And again, women are twice as likely to be affected as men. Then we have SAD, social anxiety disorder, which affects 15 million adults of the U.S. population. And SAD is equally common among men and women and typically begins around age 13. Many people with an anxiety disorder also have a co-occurring disorder or physical illness, which can make their symptoms worse and recovery more difficult. It is essential to be treated for both disorders. Obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, are closely related to anxiety disorders, which some may experience at the same time along with depression. Here are some of the co-occurring disorders that accompany anxiety. Adult ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, bipolar disorder, BDD, body dysmorphic disorder, eating disorders, fibromyalgia, headaches, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, sleep disorders, stress, and of course, substance abuse disorder. What is this thing? What is anxiety? Where does it come from? Well, let's establish first of all that anxiety is not a dirty word. Anxiety is not your arch enemy. Anxiety is actually a good thing. And we're supposed to understand that it's part of being a human being. It's what's intended to keep us alive. The reason why we experience this condition or this physiological reaction to certain things like stress or things that trigger it is so that we can continue living. And so the problem happens when that becomes your life. That's where it gets misused if it's overproduced in a person. And so you're no longer using it to survive, it's just your baseline, and that's when it seems unbearable. It's just overkill, right? It's just too much all the time. But if you were to, let's say, learn how to manage it and mitigate how often you experience this overwhelming change in your body, you might appreciate the fact that when it is activated, it's important and it helps you and it serves a good purpose. Like you wouldn't want to be indifferent and not move when something's flying directly at you like a car or somebody trying to attack you, right? That wouldn't be good. So you would need that surge of anxiety, also known as your fight or flight response, your survival mode mechanism activated so that you can do something, either run or defend yourself against a real threat in your life. When a person is experiencing anxiety at the level of it being pervasive and a disorder in them, it can stem from a combination of different things, such as your genetic makeup. It could be just the way your body is. It could be a biological thing that has to do with your particular physiology. It could also have to do with your own psychology, how your brain operates. It could be due to environmental factors and other health issues or stressors in your life. Also, past trauma. When it comes to our history in life, aside from maybe us having a predisposition from genetics or the way our bodies are, the way our minds work, if your history had adversities in your childhood, which are known as adverse childhood experiences, the ACEs, a lot of us that are in recovery have that in common. And even if it wasn't a lot of big, heavy, traumatic stuff, if anything was a stressor in your life early on, that could have caused maldevelopment in your brain. If you were in an environment or surrounded by people that activated your fight or flight response early on in life, it causes a problem because children at a very young age, especially small children like in the toddler stage, shouldn't have to feel that way, at least not all the time. And it shouldn't be a strong sense of terror and foreboding and dread. And when a child is exposed to that, it does something to the brain and the way the brain is developing and being formed that lasts for many, many years later. Now, it is possible to correct it. That's the good news because of the brain's plasticity. If your brain developed a certain way because of the way you grew up, if you were in hostile environments, if you were being terrorized, or if you were being abused or neglected, or if you were just on constant edge and hypervigilant, not knowing what was going to happen next, not knowing when your next meal was going to come, if you were going to have a place to stay, if your parents or your caregivers were going to leave you, if they were going to survive, if any of these things were happening, as an adult, you may have this lingering, constant state of worry, fear, anxiety. And even without you knowing it, like you could be sitting in an environment like this where we're safe, objectively, this is safe. No one here is going to inflict any harm on you. But based on what you've experienced in the past, your body is scanning and paying attention to different things that you might not even be acknowledging. It's like subconsciously it's happening. So your brain is receiving information through your senses, through your eyes, through your ears, and even your sense of smell and what it feels like in the room. And if there's something that triggers a memory of a past time that you might not even recall right away, that is associated with you having to survive, then your anxiety might just hit you like a flood and you don't know where it comes from. You're just like, whoa, I'm having this elevated heart rate. My blood pressure is going up. I'm getting a headache. My vision might be getting blurred. All of a sudden, I'm getting clammy. I'm getting sweaty, but I'm cold. Start feeling like I need to move, like I want to run, but I'm paralyzed. I can't move. These are the things that come with that. And it does feel sometimes like we're being held captive. It does feel like something takes over and we're not in control of our own bodies, and it doesn't feel safe to be in our bodies. That's a sign of severe anxiety. Are you doomed to constantly have to endure that and experience that for the rest of your life? No. You're not. But it's important that you recognize that it is your responsibility to begin to address it. Because I can give you the tools. I can tell you, try breathing. Try grounding yourself. Be mindful. I could tell you these things and show you how to do it, even practice it with you. But when it hits you, or day after day, if you don't use these tools, then there's nothing I can do for you. There's nothing anyone else can do for you. In the same way, we must apply the strategies for our recovery in terms of relapse prevention. And those are things that it's everyone's responsibility. You got to apply it. You got to put in that work so that you can also reap the benefits and the fruits of your own labor. That's how it functions. That's how things go. So if anxiety is something that seems to be plaguing you, and if you have been hijacked by this natural yet overproduced and possibly harmful survival mode, fight or flight response, then you can definitely begin to move in a new direction to start to align with yourself and become intimately attuned with your own body and your own responses and the way things work inside of you. You know it better than anybody else. So take a moment to consider it, and if you are willing, here's what you can do. Realize, first of all, that when you're having an episode of anxiety, intense anxiety, and it seems to be coming out of nowhere, meaning there is no real threat coming at you. You're not being attacked physically. Nothing's going to crash into you. You're just sitting here like this, and all of a sudden, you're getting this heightened state of arousal, which is what it's called, right? Your survival mode is activated. What's happening inside your body is your brain has picked up signals, whatever those triggering signals are, but has picked up the information and is now sending information to your body to do these things that are supposed to help you survive, but it's not necessary at the moment. You're still experiencing it though. The amygdala, which is part of our limbic system, it's like the emotional center of the brain. And it is also what tells the body to shut down all the other processes and only focus on your survival. So if you're digesting food, that stops. If you have cuts or bacterial infections or any kind of thing going on like that, that stuff stops. Your blood cells are going to stop repairing those things and working on those things and only focus on your vital organs. And so you'll get more blood into your vital organs, less blood flow to your extremities. You'll experience a heightened heart rate. That will accelerate. Your blood pressure goes up. Cortisol and adrenaline and noradrenaline gets pumped into your bloodstream, and that gives you that superhuman surge of power so that you can lift up a vehicle if it's on top of somebody in that moment, or run really, really fast, faster than you ever could before to get away, or fight something, someone that's attacking you. That's important and helps you to survive. But when none of that's going on and it's not necessary, you're still experiencing this adrenaline dump, this cortisol dump into your blood. You might get that tingly sensation in your hands and feet. And your sympathetic nervous system is what is up and running. That comes online when you're in survival mode. Your sympathetic nervous system. And that's your own body trying to help you. But if it's because of other factors, like I mentioned before, whether if it's from your history, your genetics, biology, psychology, your adversities in childhood, those kind of things, or a situational trigger, it's important that you recognize that there's nothing wrong with you. This is just what's happening. And identifying, like, okay, this anxiety is really my survival mode kicking in right now. That's what it really is. This fear, this feeling of impending doom is my survival mode kicking in. This is why I feel like I want to run, or I want to fight, or I'm frozen. I can't move at all. I don't know what to do. This thing's just taking over. So what we want to do is try to get ourselves out of that response, out of that system of operation, the parasympathetic nervous system. The amygdala is sending the signals and the body is responding this way. But if it's not appropriate, let's say because you're sitting here in group, nothing's really going on, but you're having this overwhelming anxiety, maybe because you're wondering if you're going to have to speak in front of everybody or whatever, you get that feeling all of a sudden. Well, how you can shut that off and turn on your parasympathetic nervous system is by, first of all, reorienting yourself to your immediate location and proximity. What's really going on right now? And just pay attention and be mindful. That's what being mindful is. It's like looking at things as an observer and not an analyst. So you're not analyzing things. You're not trying to figure anything out. You're just observing. So you can observe how you feel and what's going on with you, but also you want to activate your other senses. Activate all your 5 senses if you can. There's a strategy. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You look around, you scan the room. Identify 5 things that you can see with your eyes. Any random object, whatever it is. I can see this, I can see that, boom, boom, boom. 5 things. And then you go to 4 things that you can feel with your body, physically. What do you feel with your body? And it might be what's going on inside of you. If you feel your heart rate going up, if you feel a tingly sensation in your hands, if you can feel the seat that you're sitting on, if you can feel the floor, your shoes on you, whatever it is that you feel. 4 things. And then you can use your ears and try to focus on what can you hear? 3 sounds, 3 separate distinct sounds that you can hear. And then maybe even use your olfactory glands, your sense of smell, and sniff around a little bit. See if you can smell a couple of things, right? And then taste one thing. What's in your mouth? What's that taste in your mouth? By doing that, you're activating your 5 senses. You're bringing yourself back into the moment. And you'll be surprised if you're having an episode of your anxiety or your survival mode, your sympathetic nervous system kind of like hijacking you and taking over. When you decide to do that, you kick yourself out of that. And now you're operating in your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that uses rational thinking, logic, impulse control. That's what we want to do. And so we can activate the parasympathetic nervous system by reminding ourselves that you're safe. I'm okay. And then also focus on your breathing. I like to use personally, I know there's different styles, different techniques, but I personally, my go-to is the triangle breathing, which is a 4-count inhale, slow inhale through the nostrils, a 4-count holding of that breath, and a 4-count slow exhale through the nostrils again. I do that all the time. It works for me. It helps me go to sleep at night when I'm having racing thoughts. At any time throughout the day when I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, stressed out, I might get a little anxiety. I do that and I'm good after that. Triangle breathing or any style of breathing that works for you. Some people like box breathing or meditation or any other type of breathing techniques. You decide. But practice it. Use it. Doing that also helps to ground you and center you and get your parasympathetic nervous system working. What we want to do is we want to experience life the way it's intended, the way it's supposed to be for us. Humans were not brought into this world to be in perpetual warfare. It's not a good thing. And some of us have experienced that because of whatever has come our way and the choices that we've made sometimes or that other people made for us. And it's damaging. This is where PTSD comes from. If you're forced to be in survival mode for extended periods of time, it's going to have a negative impact on you, psychologically, physiologically, mentally, and physically. But it's not a permanent condition. You don't have to sit there and think that this is just always going to be how you live unless you're high or drunk to alleviate it. That's not true. But it's not easy. This is not, what I'm telling you is not the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance, the shortcut, you already know what it is.
Yeah.
Get high, get drunk. But it's really not a solution. It's a cheap way to try to temporarily escape a problem that doesn't go away. It only gets worse. It exacerbates that problem. Just like if you had chronic pain. If you have chronic pain and you begin to consume opiates as a way to manage that pain, you actually make that existing pain even worse. You become more sensitive to pain. As your tolerance for the opioids go up, so does your tolerance go down for any kind of pain. People who are addicted to opiates are very sensitive to pain and discomfort. Extremely. So it does the exact opposite of what you're seeking. When it comes to anxiety, we don't want to numb it. We don't want to just remove it, eradicate it, and get rid of it forever out of our lives. What we want to do is learn how to manage it, how to regulate it in a natural, healthy way by doing these techniques, like I said. You can also begin to experience what life is like when you're not constantly on edge and taken over by something that you perceive as like out of your control completely. And when your body is able to rest and digest, and you're able to feel safe in your own body, that's when you'll begin to thrive and you get to enjoy doing things and exploring things, new interests, maybe learning new skills, absorbing and gathering and retaining information that's helpful to you, being mindful and present in moments with people that are important to you, engaging and really being present instead of constantly being in your head and spiraling and wondering like, man, when can I just get out of here and get a fucking drink or get some drugs? Like, I just need to get high. It's okay to just sit with some discomfort sometimes and build some tolerance and also learn some healthy ways to deal with it that are not going to hurt you, but are actually going to make things better for you in the long run. When we get back, we're going to read what anxiety is so you can get a better breakdown of it. And we're also going to read about mindfulness. And I would like for us all to practice some of these techniques together, especially the breathing techniques and stimulating the vagus nerve, so that you can at least have the idea of what it is that you can do instead of just sitting with this anxiety and being held captive by it. Go ahead and take a 15-minute break, guys.
Break.